not, well, to shatter someone's dreams in that position. You tell them that it's go out there and do it, go out there and prove yourself, go out there and make it, and that's the key. I think that if all the people who failed at some point didn't carry on, didn't keep going, then the world wouldn't be where it is today, because nobody just sits down by off chance and puts something together, invents something that comes up with a certain concept. Having that strong sense of self-belief. One of the things that was apparent to me, there was a time a few years ago, as everyone familiar with the manager Jose Mourinho, the Chelsea guy. Okay, he arrives in England. We don't really know too much about him when he arrives. All we know is that he won the European Cup with Porto, did really well. Other than that, nobody really knows too much about him. He comes across as being bordering arrogant, confident. He sits in a press conference, and here in this press conference, you've got people who've sat in that chair, press conferences, played 400 or 500 times for their club. You've got people who've played 80, 90 times for their country. You've got a world of knowledge when it comes to football. This guy, Jose Mourinho, was an interpreter 10 years earlier, working as the late Bobby Robson's understudy as an interpreter. He wasn't a successful footballer. He didn't supposedly know too much about the game as a football student. He did a degree in sports science. Who was he to lead the Chelsea Revolution? And he sat down, and they asked him a few questions, and he described himself as being the special one. He sat down in a chair, the audacity to describe himself as a special one. And what he did achieve was special. And one of the keys is, at the point I was looking and I was doing a modelling project, behavioural modelling project, I was looking at people who were very successful, people who weren't so successful. And in my mind, two things stuck to mind. There was one manager who had more footballing knowledge than possibly anyone else in the country. He was a very talented footballer and never quite cut it in management. Kevin Keegan never quite did it. His last game in charge of England lose, they get knocked out of the World Cup. In an interview he says, I just can't handle it at this level. I'm not cut out to manage at this level. Which is the belief. Jose Mourinho, the special one. And something became apparent to me, that how we believe and what we believe ourselves to be true is key to being very successful in everything that we do. It's key. That little bit of a belief, that self-belief can make all of the difference. Now, we've all got beliefs about ourselves which are positive, and we've all got beliefs about ourselves which are negative. And sometimes it's about identifying the beliefs that are not serving us and looking into them and looking at a way of letting them go. Now, one of the questions a lot of people ask when I'm doing the behavioural modelling and NLP, you do that modelling stuff too, don't you? I said, yeah, well I do. Well, can you get anyone off the street and make him into Roger Federer or a Tiger Woods, whatever? Well, one of the key aspects is that there are other things that are essential in doing that. It's not just about the physiological side, which requires a lot of training. They've been training for a long time. There's also got to be the desire, amongst other things, building that self-belief, and there's other components. We can, if the desire is right, take someone a lot further than they are now, and who knows where the road will take them. Anything's possible. Belief is key. And one of the ways to break belief patterns, what we do is, rather than delve too much into why people are the way they are, or why they believe something negative about themselves, look at the what, and break things down to a level where we can break things down and say, okay, well, if it's a negative belief and it's not serving us in the way, well, what is it about that belief? And sometimes we require a little bit of fine-tuning as well. Sometimes we need a bit of fine-tuning. It's all good and well telling people to believe themselves, to go out there, to do things. Sometimes we need to assess things and say, okay, how can we get to the level that we need to believe? At one point in our lives, driving a car may have looked impossible. Or we go out there, do our driving lessons and learn, and we're underway, doing a degree, doing a course. It all looks very distant, very difficult, sometimes even impossible for some people. One of the keys is sometimes there's a reason for having a little bit of lack of self-belief in a certain area, and we've just got to fine-tune and work on key areas, but identifying key elements of our capabilities. At the highest level, we believe at the top of the hierarchy, believing that all things can happen, because you just never quite know. Anything is possible. People have done some of the most amazing feats under certain circumstances. So self-belief is one of the key ingredients to being successful as an athlete, and one of the most important factors they'll have. And that will be the difference that makes the difference for an athlete, that little bit of self-belief and in sport. And that translates itself to anybody in any area, having that belief and having the right beliefs in the right circumstances. So if you're setting up a business, believing that you can go out there and make a difference, and having that sense of purpose, believing you can go out there and be one of the best out there, being the best you can be out there in one's personal life, having the set of beliefs as well. A lot of people I work in personal development, they'll have these beliefs and they'll hold them, they become self-fulfilling prophecies. A guy I was working with a few weeks ago who hadn't been in a relationship, for example, many, many years, he believed that he didn't have much to offer someone in a relationship. He'd been carrying that for many, many years, and every time he got into someone's relationship, he was backing off. Albeit, one of these I did is I said, from the outside looking in, looking at a number of key points, things that he was good at, and there was a lot more to him that met the eye, a lot more to offer really. So we can break that down. So believing in ourselves and also the beliefs we have about ourselves will be key in moving forward and going to the highest level. So if we believe we're a special one, we're going to go out there, no doubt, and achieve far better and bigger results. If we think we can't handle a certain situation, we're just not cut out for it. On that note, I'd like to give everyone a bit of a break. So we'll have a short break, coffee break, and we'll be back in, is it 10-minute break?
However long you want.
Yeah, we'll give you a 10-minute break, is that okay? Yeah, okay, thank you.